Hey, this is Nancy Clairmont Carr with thejoyeffect.com, and there's a hyphen between joy and effect. If you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to Time to Shine Today podcast with my friend Scott Ferguson.
Hey, time to shine today. Podcast squad, it's Scott Ferguson, and I have got a treat for you today. I had a chance to sit down with via Zoom because we're in quarantine right now and social distancing. But I got to sit down with Nancy Clairmont Carr, a friend of mine. We're fellow Midwesterners who have relocated to Florida. She's a little bit north of me here in Florida. I'm still kind of a neighbor. And she has the website, The Joy Effect, and you have to check it out. It's all in the show notes. She talks about raising your consciousness, living on purpose, taking 100% responsibility for everything, and I mean everything that happens to you. So without further ado, here is my discussion, my conversation with my good friend Nancy Clairmont Carr. Hey, time to shine squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I am super privy to be having a conversation here with my good friend Nancy Clairmont Carr. And she is the head brainstorm, head everything of the Joy Effect. And if you want to find it, it's joy-effect.com. Nancy Clairmont Carr helps leaders grow their business and impact through conscious leadership. She shares thought leadership and effective strategies through speaking, coaching, writing, and workshops. As a transformation expert, she intuitively guides achievers to joy, abundance, and freedom, creating the life they desire with least time and effort. Not only that, squad, she's a best-selling author, and we're going to have an awesome book giveaway of her book, Brilliant Breakthroughs. It's kind of like a compiling of different authors, but her excerpt on higher consciousness creates higher profitability is fantastic, and it's a must-read, and I'm actually going to put that chapter in the show notes itself. We're going to figure out a way to do that, so you can just read her chapter out of there. But we will have a book giveaway at the end. So, Nancy, my friend, thank you for joining Time to Shine today. And if you could, please say hi to our squad. And first, tell us your favorite color and why.
Good morning, Scott and squad. My favorite color is deep coral. It's vibrant coral. It's not pure red, and I wear most of my clothes. You look in the closet, and that's what you see.
You kind of have it on a little bit. It's very.
I do.
Because you're from up north in Minnesota, if I'm correct?
That's correct.
Like me, we're Midwesterners. I'm from Detroit, and we moved down here to Florida, and you get that coral. It fits good for you. People up there are probably like coral, right? But here, they're like, oh, it's lovely.
It's vibrant, right?
Let's do like a little Michael J. Fox, like back in time. Let's start with our origins of where you started and where you are right now, transforming people's lives.
Oh, okay. I can do a quick summary of that. Absolutely. Grew up in North Dakota, went to grad school, got my MBA in marketing, moved down to the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and worked for 15 years in corporate America, first with a food company, then for several food companies, and then with personal care, and ended up in healthcare. So a variety of corporate experiences as a marketing exec. Then I decided, I recognized, let's say this first, that I really wasn't on purpose. I wasn't aligned with what I needed to be doing, and, a variety of reasons. I decided to leave the corporate world and just figure it out. Because at that point, I didn't really know. I was 7 months pregnant with my third daughter, didn't know what I wanted to do, and just said, hey, I'm going to figure this out. I left, and it was the beginning of really being able to speak my truth and kind of going on a path of what I really wanted to do. Got into coaching, first with health coaching, and was aligned with an energy medicine product company. And then I got into the energy medicine piece of it and started studying energy work, became an energy practitioner, and then changed my focus to realize the impact I wanted to make. I really needed to be working with business owners and leaders who wanted to make a huge impact. And so about 5 years ago, I changed my direction a little bit, but had a chance to combine everything that I had ever really done and studied. And,
Nice.
that's when you really feel on purpose, right, Scott?
Right. So you just segued right in. So what was the aha moment that made you realize you were not living on purpose to make that transition?
Great question. For me, it was many episodes of stressed out, being totally stressed out, getting sick about it, etc., not sleeping well. And so I just decided, I've always been like okay, figure it out, move and do something else kind of person. And so I just decided the environment wasn't supportive, great company for other people, but just where I was going, it just wasn't a great fit anymore. And I kind of always knew, Scott, that I wanted to do something on my own. And that was the moment when I said, okay, now's the time. If I'm going to do it, might as well do it now. So left, and as I say, it was a good time to break. Took just a few months off and then hopped on it.
If you were to have like someone like you that you could have turned to back then, would you have stayed corporate? Like, meaning, like, if you had somebody that was helping you level up your life then and gotten your sleep, gotten you maybe into some yoga, maybe more holistic living to where you're feeling energized and whatnot, would you have stayed corporate, or do you still think you would have made this transition?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first I want to tell you, I'm getting shivers with that question, which means it's an extremely powerful question and it gets to the root of it. When you're not on purpose, staying in the same environment is a sure way to fail.
Wow. That's
So
strong, squad. You hear that?
I was already,
Okay.
yeah. I was already doing tons of holistic things. I mean, I was the queen of great cooking and working out and all that stuff, but it was a lot of underlying beliefs and ancestral stuff that sort of comes in with us when we're born that I really needed to address. I didn't know that then. I didn't know what the issue was, but if I had met somebody like me back then, they would have helped me figure it out sooner. It's okay. We're all in perfect timing. We follow our, we ultimately come to it if we're seekers of helping and being on purpose.
Sure.
So that was it for me. I just really hadn't addressed the underlying issues. And that is the thing I help people with more than, your average business coach doesn't know how to get at that at an energetic footprint level.
Understood. So you made this change, and how many years ago did you really kind of make that transformational change to help people level up?
About 20 years ago.
So 20 years ago. So, but you were in the corporate world. Wow, you guys don't get to see it on video, but she looks amazing, vibrant, and young. So when she said 20 years ago, and that means she was in the corporate world for 15 years before that. So what did your family think with you kind of making this jump into this? Like, were they supportive, or were they like, are you crazy, or
freaked out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although my husband realizes that I kind of don't follow other people's drummer,
Sure.
So we were fine financially. I've always done well. He's done well. So that really wasn't a thing for me. I've never focused on the money, Scott. It was more about just doing what I felt called to do. And so I just said to him, look, I'll figure this out. Don't you worry. And he just let me go. And that's the way he is. Fortunately, that's why we're still married after 33 years.
That's fantastic. There's a secret behind that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what do you think makes a great coach?
Oh, another great question. Being able to tune in and pinpoint what it is that person really needs. So obviously listening really well. It's not just listening though. Depends on the skills of the coach. There's some really great business coaches out there who understand strategy, and there's some great people who understand mindset, and there's lots of people who can do lots of different things, and those are really, I think, really critical pieces. So a great coach, to me, helps me understand what I need to move forward. What is not just today's idea, but where do you need to be going? What is your optimal path and your purpose? So being able to understand that so that you can not just set goals for today, but that you are creating a path for ultimate joy, abundance, and freedom for you and whoever you're working with.
Wow.
So having the skills to be able to pinpoint that is, to me, number one.
So you're saying really there's no cookie cutter process. You actually get to find people. So how do you find people's blind spots then?
Okay, so that really gets at what my expertise is.
Okay.
And that's intuitive guidance. I'm able to tap into their subconscious and pinpoint their energy patterns that are imbalanced, whether it's something that they were born with, or that we come in with about 90% of our beliefs, and the other 10% happen in the first 6 to 7 years. So really being able to pinpoint what are the beliefs that are driving you, which create the thoughts, the patterns, the results, that's part of it. And then there's a lot of other underlying energetic patterns we have that aren't just beliefs that create roadblocks.
Sure.
And so being able to say, what do we need to move out of the way for you energetically? And how do we do that is what I focus on in addition to business strategy and, health particulars. So to me, that's probably where I'm a little bit different, way different than most business coaches.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're definitely not just the cookie cutter run of the mill coach. It sounds like you really dig deep with your prospects that you will turn into clients in great relationships. So if you were to be able to go back and talk to the 22-year-old Nancy Clairmont Carr, which might have been Nancy Clairmont then.
Yeah, right.
So if you were to go back and talk to her, went back in time, or even wrote a letter to her, what would you tell her?
Oh my God, this is great. I've done this. Okay, so this is great, Scott. We need to talk offline. I would tell her that the sooner you get out of your parents' belief system, the sooner you will become free.
Wow, that is strong. Wow. Yeah, because we're all kind of programmed. Like, it's funny. I read Shad Helmstedter's What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's a fantastic book. And he said that children are told no an average of like 135,000 times between ages 8 and 12 or something, where they're rarely told yes or given an explanation. So I can see where that programming can be pulled forward. So what is your secret sauce, if you will, which I think you explained it a little bit, but is there anything that you do maybe specifically to dig into that pattern and try to move them forward out of it?
Yeah, very specific. I've been trained in multiple different energy practitioner work, systems. And I work a lot with developing higher consciousness in people. And that is really about removing those negative energetic patterns, reformulating beliefs that are supportive. It's all based on intention.
Okay.
So when people tell me what they'd like to do, or we had pretty deep conversations in the first session that we ever meet with. And I actually do a free consultation for people for 30 minutes, and that's on my website. So that's available.
We'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah, that's a gift I give to people. And so they can check me out to see if I'm how they feel about it. But I'm really grounded. I'm very down to earth. And because of the journey I've been on, Scott, it's like I know the questions that are going to unleash this information, right? Just like you do in the field you're in when you're doing real estate or whatever field you're focusing on at the time.
Right.
And so really being able, using the energetic methods that I use, I'm able to get trust pretty quickly with people. They see the results not only of my other clients, but it's a feeling that people have pretty quickly when I start working with them.
Sure.
I am all about their success. If something positive doesn't happen there, I have not succeeded. So it's about win-win outcomes. You know how that works.
I love that.
So tuning into what their real needs are and what their blocks are through some of the energetic processes. And I guess I've just been doing it a long time.
Powerful questions you probably ask them too.
Well, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's stuff that comes to me. I mean, when I'm talking to somebody, I get downloaded.
Intuitionally. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, just get downloaded stuff constantly. Sure. So that's
Tell
where.
Tell me about a fail and how you push through.
Okay, great question. I was thinking about that before we got on, and for me, it wasn't a single incident as much as I had a learning that by taking 100% responsibility for every single thing about me, including my actions and my results, that was the only way I was going to really succeed. Okay. That there's no looking outside of Nancy to blame or anything like that. And so when that changed completely, the trajectory changed.
Okay. So instead of placing blame, you
Assumed it.
took it on, and then moved forward through that and pushed through. That's fantastic. So, what's your definition of a life well lived then?
Oh my gosh, having been able to live your purpose and impact the world the way you want to impact it. And that's not always clear with people.
Sure.
So for me, and it doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. It's different for every person.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really important to know. So when I work with people, it's not to give them what I think they should do, but what I'm getting their higher self is thinking they should do.
Getting them. I love that.
Right.
I love it. So if you were to take your cell phone out of this equation, what are 3 things that Nancy cannot live without?
Interaction with people.
Of a community, which we're not having too much because, folks, this is being recorded on March 31st, 2020. We're all in our social distancing.
Yeah, but you know what, Scott? I mean, for me, this interaction is awesome.
Yes, exactly. I'm doing more Zooms now than I ever have, which is fantastic.
Well, and that's how I do most of my work. And so for me, when you show up and you're totally present,
right.
like even in a video, to me, there's a really deep connection there.
Sure.
So that for me is very satisfying. Another thing I really can't live without is being out in nature. I do like a 5-mile walk every day. Just,
nice.
And that's probably one of the things I love most about being in Florida. It's predictably beautiful, right? Even if it is humid. And then the other thing is just, I love good food and good times.
Oh,
so I'm a good cook, and so I love to cook and eat healthy, delicious food. So those are the things I focus on, I would say. Being with family, all that good stuff. Travel.
That's awesome. So you got food, nature, and walks and community. I love those 3. And so, is there any question that you wish that people, when they came to you, I'm trying to figure out how I want to ask this, since you don't just ask powerful questions, you pick up the intuition, you pick up their energy. Is there any good question that you wish people would ask you but never do?
Yeah, sometimes people come in with these preconceived notions of, well, it's usually based on fear. And many people aren't really willing to hear the truth about the situation. And so I think a great question to ask or tell, however you want to say it, any coach is, look, I'm here for help. And so I'm asking you to tell me whatever your expertise is, because I'm here, I want your help, I'm paying you, and I want to move forward. So really being open to the guidance you receive from whatever coach or person you're asking help from. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to move into what I call my level up lightning round. I'm going to ask 5 or 6 questions. We could talk 15, 20 minutes on each one of them, but for time constraints, we got to keep it at like 5 to 7 seconds real quick. And you've been giving me super knowledge nugget filled concise answers with everything. You're a fantastic interview, so thank you. But are you ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
Here we go. What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
I guess that what I said earlier was to take 100% responsibility for every single thing you do, and that's very difficult for most people. Most people are in denial about why they're in their current situation.
Beautiful.
And so taking an inventory of really what's going on within.
I love that. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Okay. Every single morning, and more often than that, I have my little morning time, which I'm pretty sure you do, and most people who move forward quickly do. What are my intentions? And then the key thing I do is I ask for support from my guidance to make it happen and do the things I can't do. Here's what I can do. I actually have a little T-chart. This is what Nancy can do. This is what I need help with. And it's the things you want to move mountains with. I ask for help to do that.
Fantastic. Exactly. Can't do it alone. I love that. Other than your own website, the joy-effect, and of course, timetoshinetoday.com, what's another website that you like to go to kind of level up and get fired up?
There's a wonderful website, communityforhigherconsciousness.com. Okay. Tons of different people in all walks of life who have programs, some free, some paid, that people can get help from.
Love it. Give me a book. Your go-to book, not one that you've just read. The book that someone's like in the doldrums. Read this. What's the book?
Oh, well, there's no question. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
There it is. Right. Keep it right.
I like the current version by Sharon Lechter for women.
Yeah,
that's
I love it. I actually
favorite.
read Sharon's. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
My favorite. She's contemporized it and made it in today's environment, which is much higher consciousness.
Love it. Favorite organization or charity you like to support with your time or money, or both?
People who are re-engineering their lives. I do a lot of pro bono work, free energy counseling, free coaching with people who are in that position. They're trying to change careers, and I give them my expertise in that area.
Love it. And last question, the best decade of music, 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh, gosh, probably 70s.
There you go. We can definitely hang out, Nancy. There you go. Love it. Because it's such a mix of just classic rock, disco. It has everything coming out of the hippies into, it's just, I love the 70s. And it's
absolutely.
Funny, I have millennials that work for me, and I'll be playing, Seeger will be on in the background, or Steppenwolf, and they'll be like, who is this? And they're like, we really like it. It's like, I grew up listening to this.
Cream.
Kind of weird stuff in the air in my house. I don't know what my parents were doing. But it was a lot of fun. But
yeah.
Right, leave us with one knowledge nugget, which I think I know what you're going to say, but leave us with one knowledge nugget that you want the Time to Shine squad to take from our interview.
Yeah, without a doubt, the higher you can develop your consciousness level, the easier life becomes. You are guided intuitively. You make the biggest difference. You have the most joy, abundance, and freedom. And so whatever you can do to increase your consciousness level, become a conscious leader in your own, when we start with ourselves, right? We must lead ourselves first. But raising your consciousness is the number one advice I give to people in whatever way you can do that.
Love it. How can we find you, Nancy?
You can email me, nancy@nancyclairmontcarr.com. You can go to my website, thejoy-effect.com. If that fails, nancyclairmontcarr.com will get you there too.
I love it. I love it. And folks, what we're going to do is there is a kind of about a 2 to 3 week editing time frame. But when I put this podcast out on all the directories, the first person to email me back that I can send to the email to Nancy so she can verify it is going to get a free book called Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. And if you go to page 43, you'll have Nancy's excerpt on higher consciousness creates higher profitability. It's a fantastic read. Actually, the whole book's a fantastic read. I did it in a weekend. It's just fantastic. And squad, we love to level up and surround ourselves with people that are humble, that are hungry, that are leveling up their health, leveling up their wealth, that take 100% responsibility and understand that in the word responsibility, as we always say, is the ability to respond. And you're taking 100% responsibility, and you're always raising your consciousness. And Nancy, you're the epitome of that. You are now part of our squad. You can't go anywhere. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your valuable knowledge nuggets with our squad.
Thank you, Scott. I so appreciate, and I can see there's a lot of like-mindedness here, which I love the work you're doing. You're reaching people at a time where energy is coming in and shifting the planet.
Yes.
So stay tuned to Scott's stuff. It's great.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Talk soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast, proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.